Welcome back, Patriots. We have Fox News' Peter Doocy squaring up against Karine Jean-Pierre regarding the rhetoric that's coming from the Biden-Harris administration, calling Donald Trump a threat to democracy, a threat to the republic. Let's see what happens here, folks. Let's roll it.
Thank you, Karine. It's been only 2 days since somebody allegedly tried to kill Donald Trump again. And you're here at the podium in the White House briefing room calling him a threat. How many more assassination attempts on Donald Trump until the president and the vice president and you pick a different word to describe Trump other than threat?
Peter, if anything from this administration, I actually completely disagree with the premise of your question, the question that you're asking. It is also incredibly dangerous in the way that you're asking it, because American people are watching.
What?
And to say that from an administration who has consistently condemned political violence, from an administration where the president called the former president and was grateful that he was okay, from an administration who has called out January 6th, called out the attack of Paul Pelosi.
You're going to equate Paul Pelosi to an assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life, not just once, but twice, amongst all the plots that we know about? Oh, this is wild.
Called out and said we need to lower the temperature after the Butler incident.
But you didn't. Joe Biden literally came out less than 48 hours later and continued the threat rhetoric, along with all the other Democratic politicians. Even you, Karine Jean-Pierre, did it. Oh my God, gaslighting at the highest levels.
And now for you to make that kind of comment in your question, because your question involved a comment and a statement. And, it is, that is also incredibly dangerous. When we have been very clear in condemning political violence from here, what I have said about the president, the former president, about January 6th is facts. That you all have reported. It is fact.
Hey, Karine, hey, why don't you tone down the rhetoric? Why haven't you done so? The president just had another assassination attempt on his life. Well, we condone that political rhetoric. We don't think it's right. We have called it out. But January 6th, that is just a fact. The guy is a threat. Jesus, in the same sentence, she sits there and contradicts herself. $180,000 she's getting paid to do this job. What the hell are you wearing, by the way, Karine? You look like a freaking cone.
When you have a former president who basically says that the election wasn't, the results of the election were not the results of the election. When dozens of more than 60 Republican judges said that it was a free and fair election.
We know there's illegal immigrants that voted in the last election. We know there's people that voted for properties that don't exist in the last election. We know that people voted from properties that they no longer live at in the last election. We know that there's people voting that were dead, Karine. People are currently in court right now for voting in 2016 and 2020 that should have never been able to vote in the first place because they stole people's identities because they were illegal. We know that Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania have not cleaned up their voter registration rolls. They're going to do the same thing in 2020 they did in 2024 they did in 2020. But you're right, the fairest and cleanest election that's ever existed. And you're going to call out Donald Trump for not saying that the election was legit? How about we talk about Hillary Clinton, that still to this day has written books about the fact that the last election wasn't legitimate and that she lost it. She blamed anybody and everybody else other than herself.
More than 60 said it was indeed a free and fair election.
You
had more than 2,000 people who were told to go to the Capitol. It was one of the darkest days of our democracy. One of the
What? What? Come on.
Darkest days. There were people law enforcement officers who died because of what happened at the Capitol.
That's a lie.
And they were there because the former president told them to go there.
Because they had permits, Karine. They had permits to protest. Now, I get there should never have been people that went inside, but they had permits to peacefully protest. And that's why Donald Trump said so peacefully, right? but you can't wrap your head around that. No, no, no.
I mean, I don't know if that's not a threat in our democracy when it was one of the darkest days of our democracy.
Bro, there she has it. Don't you think you should turn down the rhetoric and not use that term threat anymore, Karine? And then she sits there in her answer and calls the dude a threat to democracy that has a high probability of having these psychos put assassination plots on his life. And she's going to sit there and triple, quadruple, however you want to phrase it, down on this. Holy crap.
January 6th, one of the darkest days.
And
point. So we have been very clear from here. Now, we can have a disagreement on policies. We can, on issues. That is what we should do. It is important to have those disagreements. It is welcome to have those disagreements on the economy, on healthcare, on foreign policy. But when you start bringing political rhetoric, that is not okay. And that's what you've heard from us, too.
No joke. Was it about 30 seconds ago, maybe 25, that she just called Donald Trump a threat? And then she brings in political rhetoric? Not a thought in that head, folks. Not a thought in that head. It's a remarkable thing.
You've heard of differences on policies.
But to your point, there are people watching at home who might miss the part where you say, let's lower the temperature, and there are mentally unstable people who are attempting to kill political candidates, attempting to kill Donald Trump, and they are still hearing this White House refer to him as a threat. Is there no concern that people are taking that literally?
We're using examples. We're not just saying that just to say it. January 6th, Peter. January 6th. Wait, January 6th.
What blows my mind is they literally thought the government was going to be overtaken on January 6th. These idiots actually think the government, United States government, was going to get overran by a bunch of people that were just taking photos, right? Like, they did some destructive things, don't get me wrong, but the majority of them were basically getting VIP tours through the Capitol. Like, come on. Oh, the democracy's being overtaken, really, by a couple thousand people with the strongest and most forceful military the world has ever seen? Come on, Jesus.
How many times do we have to? January 6, 2021. That is a fact, what was reported that happened on that day by some of your colleagues. I mean, and we have, at the same time, denounced political violence over and over, political rhetoric over and over again.
You just used violent political rhetoric in your answer, you dum-dum.
Over and over again. But I know your focus has to be on this side of the house. It can't be on your side of the house. I get that. But we also...
Why would it be on our side of the house? We're not calling anybody a threat. We're not asking for the assassination attempts of other people, which basically is what you're doing in a roundabout way by continuing this type of rhetoric that we've seen over 50 plus times. We did an hour-long podcast on just clip after clip after clip, showing you guys calling Donald Trump a threat to democracy, to eliminate him, to get rid of him, that shots need to be fired upon. Come on.
Also have to be careful on how you're asking me these questions. People are watching, and is what you are saying about us raising political violent rhetoric, however you just formulated it, this is an administration that has denounced and condemned any type of political rhetoric or violence. It is the reason why this president decided to run in 2020. That is why the president decided to come back. He believed that it is important to save the soul of America, of our nation.
And why did he drop out? If Donald Trump is such a threat that she's referring to, and that's why he entered the race, why is he dropping out then, Karine? Weird. Must have not been that much of a threat.
And he believed it was important that we continue to fight for our democracy, fight for our freedom. That's what you see from this administration. I'm moving.
He's fighting from the beaches of Delaware, folks. He's kicking his little feetsies in the sand, having 40% off vacation that we know about. More than any sitting president in American history, Joe Biden has taken vacation time on. And then Kamala Harris, has shown up to work each and every day to make sure she's taking care of your kitchen table issues, which she hasn't done in 3.5 years, along with her boss, Joe Biden, as well as this lady here that doesn't have a damn clue her head on straight. But hey, that just tells you how great it is in America that you get paid $180,000 to do a terrible job, and through the Democrat Party, you get elevated to the highest levels of office, folks. If you enjoyed what you saw here, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below what you think about all this. And folks, I'll see you next time here on The Bubba Rat Show. Take care. care, Patriots.